If you're over 65 years old, you've already lived through more economic ups and downs than most people could imagine. You've seen the market booms, the crashes, the bubbles, the panics, and the recoveries. You've seen presidents come and go, interest rates rise and fall, and the value of a dollar change dramatically over the decades. And if you're honest with yourself, you've probably noticed that the world of money today feels a lot less certain than it used to. Now, I'm not here to scare you, far from it. I'm here to help you think clearly about what comes next. Because when you're over 65, the rules change. The way you think about your money has to evolve. You don't have decades to wait for markets to bounce back. You don't have time to ride out wild swings or hope that your 401k magically grows back after a downturn. You need stability, you need income, and you need protection. So if you're older than 65, I want you to listen closely. I'm going to walk you through what you should be doing right now, not as financial advice, but as perspective from someone who's helped thousands of retirees protect what they've worked for. My goal is simple. I want you to sleep better at night. Let's start with something most people over 65 don't like to talk about: risk. You see, when you were in your 30s, 40s, even 50s, taking some risk made sense. You had time. You could recover from downturns. You could ride the waves. But once you're retired or near retirement, time stops being your ally. Your number one goal isn't growth anymore. It's preservation, protecting what you have. Because at this stage of life, losing 20 or 30% of your portfolio could mean changing your lifestyle permanently. Think back to 2008. Think back to how quickly everything unraveled. Many retirees saw their savings cut in half almost overnight. Some were forced back into work. Some sold their homes. And the painful part is, many of those losses could have been avoided if portfolios had been structured for safety instead of speed. Now, in 2025 and beyond, I see a very similar pattern forming. Markets are stretched. Government debt is at record highs. Inflation has eased a little but hasn't disappeared. Interest rates are creating pressure across the banking system. And the dollar isn't what it used to be. That's why now, not later, is the time to make sure your retirement savings are in the right places. So, if you're older than 65, here's what you should be doing. First, simplify your financial life. Get rid of the clutter. Too many people in their later years hold a dozen different accounts, scattered investments, and complex strategies they barely understand. Complexity creates confusion, and confusion creates mistakes. You don't need 20 different investments. You need a handful of solid, time-tested ones that you can understand and trust. Second, focus on income and protection. That means owning assets that either pay you consistently or hold their value when the rest of the world loses its mind. This is where we have to talk about something that's been quietly standing the test of time for thousands of years: gold and silver. If you've never seriously considered precious metals before, now's the time. And if you already have, this is the time to double-check that you have enough. Here's why. The US dollar has lost roughly 85 to 90% of its purchasing power since the 1970s. That means a dollar today buys only a fraction of what it used to. Inflation doesn't have to be extreme to hurt you. It just needs to keep nibbling away year after year. You feel it at the grocery store, the gas pump, your property taxes, and even your insurance bills. And while the government tells you inflation is under control, you and I both know that everyday costs are anything but. Gold and silver, on the other hand, don't lose value because of government printing. They aren't dependent on Wall Street, interest rates, or the next election. They've been used as money for over 5,000 years, and for good reason. They hold purchasing power. They are real, tangible, and permanent. In every major economic crisis, whether it was the Great Depression, the stagflation of the 1970s, or the crash of 2008, people who held gold and silver had something solid to rely on. Their wealth wasn't frozen in the banking system. It wasn't tied to the performance of the stock market. It was safe, it was real, and it provided options. That's what I want for you. Options, flexibility, security. Here's something most financial advisors won't tell you, because frankly, most of them don't deal in tangible assets. The traditional 60-40 portfolio, 60% stocks, 40% bonds, no longer provides the same safety it once did. In 2022, both stocks and bonds fell sharply at the same time. Retirees who thought they were diversified found out the hard way that they weren't. Gold, on the other hand, held steady. It quietly did what it always does: protect. That's why I believe anyone over 65 should have at least a portion of their portfolio, maybe 10 to 20%, in precious metals, like gold and silver. And if you're wondering how to do that safely and easily, this is where I point people to Augusta Precious Metals. Augusta is one of the most trusted names in the industry. They specialize in helping retirees move a portion of their savings into what's called a Gold IRA, a self-directed individual retirement account backed by physical gold and silver. This isn't a paper investment. It's real, government-approved, insured, and stored in secure facilities. You still own it. You still control it. You just have the peace of mind knowing that a portion of your wealth is protected from inflation, currency devaluation, and market chaos. What I like most about Augusta is that they take the time to educate you. They're not pushy salespeople. They walk you through every step. They make sure you understand why precious metals matter and how they fit into a balanced retirement plan. They've helped countless Americans over 65 safeguard their savings, and they've built a sterling reputation for honesty and transparency. Now, let's dig a little deeper into why this matters so much right now. The next few years, leading into 2026, are likely to bring major financial shifts. The government debt is over $34 trillion and climbing. Sooner or later, that debt will have to be managed, and history tells us that usually means printing more money. More money in circulation means each dollar is worth less. It's a slow form of theft, silent, invisible, but devastating over time. For someone on a fixed income, that's dangerous. You might think your retirement savings are safe because you're not spending much, but if your dollars buy less every year, you're actually losing ground. Gold and silver are the antidote to that. They maintain their real value even when the dollar weakens. I want you to think about this in emotional terms for a moment. You've spent a lifetime earning, saving, and planning. You've made sacrifices. You've worked through challenges. You've provided for your family. The last thing you deserve in your retirement years is anxiety about whether your money will hold up. You shouldn't have to lie awake at night wondering if the market will crash tomorrow or if your savings will still be enough 5 years from now. You've earned the right to feel secure. That's why this isn't just about finance. It's about peace of mind. Gold and silver give you that peace of mind. When you hold real physical assets, you feel it in your bones. It's not a number on a screen. It's something you can touch, something that endures. It's wealth in its truest form. Not a promise from a company or a government, but something timeless and universal. And again, I'm not saying you should put all your money into gold or silver. That's not the point. The point is balance. Diversify wisely. Keep enough liquidity for your everyday needs. Maintain some exposure to stable, dividend-paying stocks for income. Maybe keep a bit in conservative bonds or cash equivalents for short-term expenses. But make sure at least part of your portfolio is insulated, truly insulated, from the paper system. Because here's the hard truth. When the next financial storm hits, and it will, sooner or later, paper promises can vanish. But physical gold and silver don't disappear. They're the lifeboat when the ship starts to shake. Now, beyond precious metals, there are a few other things every retiree over 65 should be doing right now. One is making sure your income sources are reliable. That means leaning on steady dividend payers rather than risky growth stocks. Focus on companies that have paid and raised dividends for decades: utilities, healthcare, consumer staples. These are businesses that people rely on in every economy. They may not make headlines, but they make checks. And those checks keep coming even when markets dip. Another strategy is to reduce your debt. At this stage, carrying high-interest debt is like walking around with an anchor tied to your ankle. Pay off what you can. Simplify your obligations. The less you owe, the more control you have. And control equals peace of mind. Also, think carefully about where you're keeping your cash. Banks aren't as bulletproof as they once seemed. You don't have to look far back to remember that a few regional banks failed overnight. If your savings are sitting in one institution above FDIC limits, consider spreading them out. Diversify not just your investments, but your custody as well. And while you're thinking about safety, don't forget about taxes. Many retirees forget that every dollar you withdraw from traditional retirement accounts can be taxable income. That's another reason a gold IRA through Augusta Precious Metals can be smart. It allows you to hold physical assets inside a tax-advantaged account. You get both protection and potential tax benefits. Now, I want to bring this full circle, because when I talk about gold and silver, when I talk about simplification, and when I talk about protection, what I'm really talking about is freedom. Financial freedom. Emotional freedom. The freedom to live your retirement years without fear. You've seen too much to fall for get-rich-quick schemes. You know better than to gamble your savings on the next hot tech stock. You've earned the right to focus on safety, on legacy, on peace of mind. So if you're older than 65, do this. Take a hard, honest look at your finances. Ask yourself, how much of my wealth is truly protected? How much is dependent on markets or politicians? How much is sitting in dollars that are losing value every year? And then ask yourself, what would it feel like to know that part of your savings is completely safe, immune from inflation, immune from market crashes, immune from the noise? That's what gold and silver offer. And that's what Augusta Precious Metals can help you achieve. They'll guide you through the process step by step. No confusion, no pressure, just clear information and genuine support. They're known for that. In fact, many of the retirees I've spoken with who worked with Augusta said the same thing. I wish I'd done this sooner. Because here's the thing. No one ever regrets adding stability to their life. No one ever says, I wish I hadn't protected my savings. But plenty of people regret waiting too long. So, if you're watching this and you're over 65, make the call. Do the research. Visit Augusta Precious Metals and learn how you can safeguard your wealth with physical gold and silver. Do it for your peace of mind. Do it for your spouse. Do it for the legacy you want to leave. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about money. It's about security. It's about knowing that whatever happens next, you'll be okay. And that, my friends, is the most valuable investment you'll ever make. If you found this video helpful, Watch this video next. I wish you all a great day. Goodbye.